Detective Comics 577, Mike W. Barr, writing with Todd McFarlane on art. So we actually didn't get an issue of this last time because of the Batman annual threw things off. So we're back to this is part 3 of Batman Year 2. And I think what's funny about this issue is that I'm going to say something very similar to what I said about last issue. Even though the end of last issue, so we liked most of the issue, and then the one thing we were a bit about was the ending with you have to work with Joe Chill. The funny thing about this issue is that I really like almost all of it, and then the last page sort of like does something. I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. Like I felt almost the exact same thing because I actually really enjoyed the vast majority of this issue.
That's interesting. I like the art a lot.
Oh, that's great.
I will say the last page is absolutely the worst, or more specifically, the last panel. I think it is
Sure.
is the really bad moment that I'm sure you're on about here. But a lot of it, I still felt like, why are we doing this? Why are we working with Joe Chill? And they try and like, meta answer that where they have characters being like, I can't believe you're working with your parents' killer. And I'm like, yeah, but he doesn't give a good enough answer. It never convinces me that this is necessary. But he's just like, this is what we've got to do to take down the Reaper. And I'm like, is it though?
Well, he's wrong. I think that's kind of the fundamental thing I came to. But mostly I was just really into the atmosphere of everything it was doing, largely through the art, but I even thought the storytelling, where they go and like, find someone who'll set up a deal to lure out the Reaper later in the issue. So there's a segment where they sort of break into some drug dealers or whatever it is and make them set something up. And obviously Batman stops Joe from killing some people. Although notably not every single one. There's one guy at the end who does get shot. And obviously Batman's not happy about it. Mob bosses basically say to Joe Chill that he's there. You can kill after this is all done. After the Reaper's down, you can kill Batman because we don't want him around either. Naturally. I mean, there's some more of the engagement stuff which we'll get to. But in fact, not even get to because that's kind of the point I was wanting to make. Is that there's a scene where there's like a dinner and it's like Bruce with Leslie and young Miss was it Caspian, right? Because obviously Father Caspian's the Reaper, right? So we've known this.
Yes.
And there's a whole thing where he's like, you're the one who's convinced my daughter to not go to the convent and take her vows and all that. And he's like, well, yeah, but I'm glad she did. I'm like, I bet you are, Bruce. I bet you are.
What is the time passage of this? Because by the end of this this section, Bruce is like, it's fine. I'm absolutely in love with Eudora. I'd never do anything to her. I'm like, didn't you just meet her like a week ago?
Yeah, well, this is a staple of old stories in general. But what I liked about this is that they sort of like both say they can't do anything else for the rest of the night, and it's because they both have plans as Batman and the Reaper. And
I do like that split panel of them both kind of outfitting up.
And that's really good. But what I like about it is that the next page is the split panels again of like, Batman's gliding through the sky, Reaper's, I guess, gliding as well, or jumping over a fence, whatever he's doing.
Jumping, yeah. I wouldn't call it gliding.
And it's just that Batman arriving in an alleyway with Joe Chill, and Joe Chill, okay, it's time to go. I felt a genuine, like, really good pace of, like, build up to, okay, this big, this, I don't want to call it a sting per se, but this trap they're trying to set for Reaper. I really felt a good sort of build up to it in the storytelling that, while I don't necessarily love the whole having to work with Joe Chill stuff so much, but they're getting a lot out of it where, Bruce having to go and work with them and kind of the atmosphere leading up to this. And then Gordon also has a tip that this thing's going down. So the police are coming in, which is the big sort of wild card, if you will, in this as well. And we get this whole thing where Reaper starts killing off some of the undercover cops because he's smarter than obviously everyone thinks he is. And it gets very bloody and very violent. And I did like some of the sound effects and all the rest of it. I love how grungy all this feels. It definitely makes me want to go back and read Spawn, just because McFarlane did a lot of
that. There's a reason McFarlane has the reputation that he does, right?
Yeah.
His art is very good for this type of thing.
Of course, Batman ends up, helping Gordon not get shot and so on. And the Reaper ultimately gets away. Joe Chill's an idiot and shoots some ether, which, as you'd expect, does go boom.
It goes womb according to the sound effect.
Oh, sorry, yes, womb. But yeah, but there's a great moment where Joe Chill's like high off the edge of the roof, and Batman, has this moment where he's looking at him dangling off the roof, and they get the close up panel in the eyes as he's deciding. And Well, I will complain usually about too many flashbacks to the shooting. I do think here it's fine for him to have a quick black and white like image of him shooting the gun on the night of his murder's parents. I think that's fine.
What you're saying is there's no pearls. So
there's no pearls. Yes, there's no pearls.
If this had ended with the pearls, we'd have had a very different reaction, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I think it's justified here. It'd equally be justified, say, if, let's say he turned around, Joe Chill was pointing a gun at him, if he had, like, a quick flashback to have, him pointing the gun that many years ago, I'd be fine with that.
Given that they want Joe Chill to kill him at the end of the story, I feel like they probably should have saved this moment for that. Very
possibly. Unfortunately, though, it's like, okay, we'll have to try better next time. Batman does choose to save him, obviously, but when he walks off, this is the one thing I hate in the issue, is this last page, this last panel particularly, where Batman holding the gun, this is the narration, I saved him only because I need him, father, but once we have slain the Reaper, I swear my next victim will be the man who killed you, and I promise he'll know the reason why. Like, whoa. Why is he going full vengeance now? What's going on?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, there's a couple of moments again earlier in the book where Batman pulls out the gun at one point, and Joe Chill's like, "Oh yeah, for a guy who doesn't like guns, you're packing a serious cannon there," and then has some like inner monologue of like, "Just have a piece just like that myself." I'm like, "Oh, really?" It's things like that, and then you get to this at the end, where it's like, "Oh, he's gonna kill Joe Chill with his own gun." I'm like, "Oh, I hate this so much."
Yeah. This is the funny thing. I actually enjoyed the vast majority of the issue. I just hate this last page.
It's so bad.
Because I like how it builds the first time they're working together and the slow tension of it, and the is Joe going to do something very Batman disapproves of? It feels very uneasy, this uneasy alliance, and then I like the pacing of like, okay, we've had the dinner, and then they're going out for their various sides of this night trap that they're both playing a part of. All of that I think is exceptionally well done, and I think it's paced beautifully. Both in art and in storytelling. I think it's really well done. It's just this final page, this stupid, like, for some reason Batman's gone full of, and it does open with him at his parents' graves, and he's monologuing to himself about their deaths and whatnot and what he's doing.
A gorgeous opening page, that double page, and it's the cape just flowing across both pages.
Yeah, it just feels a bit too far gone, this last panel. But I mean, obviously Leslie is there, kind of like being his conscience, and I'm hoping that next issue or whatever, there's going to be more of that. There's going to be more of her sort of like making sure to guide him back to the light.
Yeah, I think while I fundamentally agree with everything you say, it's really well paced what they're doing, because I didn't buy in on Batman thinking that this was the way to do it. This is the only way to take down the Reaper. I never bought into that. I kind of had a hard time really getting into the issue.
I think for me it's okay because, or at least I didn't bother me because this is early Batman, and if this is the whole point of this is that he's being naive, or he's letting his weird emotions about Joe Chill kind of color what he's doing right now. He's not thinking straight. Like, I think it's very. I mean, I think we can all say, look at this story and say he's not thinking with a clear, determined mind that he usually thinks with. This is
right.
This is a clouded Batman.
I think weirdly, if it had almost ignored it, I could probably just write it off as, it's young Batman is doing that. But because they have like Leslie bring it up and address it to him, it's like, what are you doing? And he's just like, this is what I has to do, and it doesn't go far enough with its explanation. Once it decided it was going to go into doing an explanation, that was kind of where it lost me.
I think that's the point, though, is that his explanation isn't enough. It's not enough for her, so it's not enough for us either, because she isn't convinced by it.
No, I know she's not, and I get where you're coming from with that, but unfortunately, that's not enough for me to buy in on the rest of the issue either.
I mean, like I say, I really like the issue. Just that last panel, this super like, I'm going to murder Joe Chill after I murder the Reaper.
Yeah,
not feeling that. Obviously, I'm fairly certain we're going to get out at the end of this story without him doing so. So we'll see how they reach that point. But
unless that's really the real reason people absolutely hate this.
Oh yeah, if this ends with him actually killing Joe Chill, then in which case, yeah, okay, fine. It's a terrible arc for all the good craft that's went into it. For the most part, it'll be a terrible arc, and we'll never want to talk about it again if that's how it is.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. I don't even have to think about that.
Even if they do the thing where they're like, he'll let Reaper kill Joe Chill and then stop the Reaper, that would probably be just as bad.
Yeah, because he's still making the choice.
Yeah. If he just like fails to save him, even though he tries, that's fine.
Yeah,
Like,
sure, yeah.
But if he actively makes the choice to let the Reaper have him, then well, that'll be just as big a problem.
I think I like the idea that he's going to let him be killed, but then makes the right choice and changes his mind. But then when he goes to like stop it, it's too late. Like I think that could have some nice dramatic.
There's dramatic potential in that.
Yeah. So I mean, there's definitely things you could do with it that I think work for Batman, especially an early Batman who's still, like I do like the idea that the reason why he's so staunch on all of his rules and most of Batman from later on in the career when he has all the Robins, when he has all the family, is because maybe he did go through something like this where he did toy with the idea, he did try to use a gun, and
he made a few mistakes.
Yeah, so I'm not against exploring those ideas. I get nervous, especially with new comics, whenever they say they're going to try this, because I'm just like, it's just going to be, and it's just to have panels of this and panels of that. Like, not to bring up Zack Snyder, but like, yeah, as much as it's just a dream sequence in Batman v Superman, it still just kind of feels like he wanted to have a Batman, a duster with a machine gun, like killing people left and right. It's because it was cool, not because he actually had anything to say about the character.
I had forgotten that existed, and now I'm annoyed at you. Because I also, there was no point to it. There was no purpose to that sequence whatsoever.
Oh?
And now I'm annoyed that I have to think about that.
If only there was more Zack Snyder material coming out that you could enjoy from the
you want me to have more material in my head that could annoy me? I mean, I bet you do. You would love that in my head. Yeah, but I don't want that.
I want enough TV or movie material in your head to annoy you that could fill a 24-hour network that's airing all year round.
Do you think it's not there already?
Okay, fine.
You know how many things annoy me.
Okay, fine. The entirety of a satellite service, all right? Every channel, all 1,000 channels are filled all year round.
We're getting there. The odd repeat, but we're getting there.
All right, what are you giving Detective Comics 577?
I'm going to give it a 6.5 because I think the craft of it is still pretty damn good. Because I didn't quite buy in, I didn't get the same attachment and connection that I feel like I should have done.
Yeah, this is a tough one because I do think the craft is especially strong, and I really like the atmosphere and how everything felt. So I'm going to go with a 7.5, but if the last page didn't do something that was actively pissing me off, it would probably be at least a full point higher, if not maybe even hitting the 9. So, but 7.5 as it is.